Welcome to another Maximum Impact Club lesson. I'm in Hawaii with the Duncan Group. I wish you were in this room with me. First of all, we're in paradise having a great time. The water's beautiful, and of course the island's beautiful. We've been playing some golf. But Todd Duncan every year meets with people, especially in the mortgage business, to help them increase their business and do much better. And I have been privileged to be with Todd on a couple of these occasions, as I am today. And the people in this room are high energy, very successful people who really want to add value to others, and it's been my joy to get to meet them. People in the mortgage business all over America. And Todd just does a great job in leading them and helping them and having this conference every year. And before I give you my Maximum Impact lesson, I want to say something about Todd Duncan, because he's not only a wonderful friend of mine, but Todd adds a lot of value to me personally. I grow from what he teaches. I grow a lot from just our times together. In fact, when I'm done with this lesson today, we're going to play golf today, and I look forward to that. I look forward to more being with him than I do playing golf. I'm not sure how good the golf game will be. In fact, let me back up. I know how the golf game will be. And so the conversation will have to be worthwhile. You understand that, don't you, Todd? The game won't be too good, but that's all right. The conversation will be great. But Todd's coming out in January 2003 with an incredible book that I had the privilege of writing the foreword for. It's a Thomas Nelson book called High Trust Selling. And I am very excited about this book. What Enjoy is in the area of leadership to people all over America. Todd Duncan and his High Trust Selling book is to people that are in sales all over America. Whether you're in the mortgage business, if you're trying to sell anything, this is a book that I want to tell you right now needs to be right on top. Maximum Impact Club listeners, you know as well as I do that every once in a while when I do a tape, I'll say, get this book, or you got to listen to this tape, because I know something that will help you to grow. And High Trust Selling is a must-buy. It's going to be in bookstores all over the country, January 2003. Todd Duncan is the author. He's my friend. I promise you, if you're in sales, you're going to get all kind of good stuff. I was talking the other day to my friend Zig Ziglar, who obviously knows sales very well and has for many, many years been the motivational speaker in that area. And Zig told me, he said, Todd's book, he said, is just a breath of fresh air. He said it's got great concepts, great sales ideas, new stuff that hasn't been out, and so we're real excited about High Trust Selling. It comes out January 2003. If you don't want to go to bookstores, you can get it through www.theduncangroup.com, and you can get it there too. But just get High Trust Selling. It's coming out in January. I know you'll be glad that you did. Let's talk in this hour about leadership landmines. There are some things that I've been wanting to talk about for a period of time, and this is one of them. In fact, I've been sitting on this subject because, as you know, as Maximum Impact subscribers, I'm continually writing, and usually have 4 to 6 books at a time I'm working on, just cultivating the ideas, trying to crock-pot them. And this is one of them. This is going to be a book. I'm not sure if it's going to be a book in 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, but this is going to be a book. Because I constantly see leaders. I'm talking about the best leaders. I'm talking about leaders who are successful. I'm talking about leaders who are already there. They're building their companies. They're building their organizations. They've got a great team. I'm talking about sometimes the best of the best who all of a sudden get blown up. And I just look at it and I say, oh my goodness, what happened? Why did they do that? How could they be where they are and violate this law or this principle in such a way that they're losing money in their business, or they're having to back up and start all over again? It always bothers me, so I've been working very hard on landmines that leaders sometimes step on that blow them out of the picture. Just take a moment. If you look in the beginning part of the lesson, the first paragraph, many leaders never achieve their potential because they're blown up by problems that they never see coming. And our desire is to learn the most common leadership pitfalls in this lesson and how to avoid them. I could first of all tell you that everything I'm going to talk about today at one time have stepped on one of these landmines, okay? So you're listening to an injured leader, okay? You know, if you could see me, I have both arms in slings, you know what I mean? I just come out of traction. Now, in other words, we all at times step on landmines. And I can remember when I first started, as you know, I started off as a pastor in Hillham, Indiana, a little country church. And I'll never forget, they had a real little lobby. I mean, a real little lobby. Well, the church only seated 85, so it has to be a little lobby. It's kind of like a phone booth, okay? Now, get the picture. And there's this ugly, ugly, ugly painting on the wall in the lobby. And the first thing I thought when I saw this, I thought, oh, that's an ugly painting. I just thought, who would want an ugly painting there? I mean, who would put an ugly painting there? Who would keep an ugly painting there? So the second week I walked in, it was still there, and I thought, that needs to be taken down. So here I am. I'm 22 years old in my first church with no regard to tradition, with no regard to who could have painted it and why it's there and who knows who and all the relationship structure that comes in a church that only runs about 60 people, and there's a reason why they only run about 60 people. I took the painting down. And the rest of the people started coming to church that morning, and I was in the sanctuary. They were gathering in the lobby, and I could tell that there was a sense of hostility. I began to feel negative energy. And I walked in there, and they were all asking the same question: who took down Grandma's painting? And stupid me, I said, well, I took it down. It's an ugly picture. It's one thing to step on a landmine. It's another thing to want to camp out on the landmine. To bounce up and down and say, could you blow me up some more? I got one limb left. Could we take care of that one? It's such an ugly picture. I knew nobody would want it up there, and I put it in the back room. Bad mistake. You see, that's when I realized they could have forgiven me for all kind of gross sins. I could have run off the church's secretary, and it would have been better than taking Grandma's painting off the wall. You see, the lesson I learned that day is never tear down the fence until you find out why it was put up. Oh my, that was a landmine. Well, we all have landmines that we step on as leaders, and I understand it because we're active and we're moving. So I'm not saying that your life is going to be free of landmines. I'm just going to talk in a moment about landmines that will just absolutely wipe you out if you're not careful. Many, many years ago in a Maximum Impact Club lesson, I did a tape that has become a very popular tape. A lot of people go back and get it. It's entitled, How to Get Out of Your Own Way. I basically said, I'm going to teach you how to run a race without killing yourself and without sabotaging yourself. In fact, I used to say, you don't need to worry about the competition. Most leaders I watch don't need to worry about the competition beating them. They'll just do something stupid in the race and disqualify themselves. And so the whole tape was basically how to get out of your own way. It's like one of my friends said one time, if I could kick the person most responsible for most of my problems, I would not be able to sit down for a week. So let's do some leadership landmines, okay? And they're not in priority. They're just 10 of them, but they're just 10 landmines. In fact, let me tell you what the most difficult thing about this lesson was for me. I had about 26 of them. And I thought, oh my goodness, you can't do 26 unless you're doing a series. You follow what I'm saying? So I'll do 10 now, and if these 10 fit good, maybe in a month or two or a year or two down the road, I'll do some more landmines that perhaps could be. But let me give you 10 that I think you just really want to be careful of and watch out for. Landmine number 1. This will surprise you. Landmine number 1, today's success. It's a huge landmine. I see people all the time, unknown to them, because they're enjoying the seeds of their success, mess up because they want to stay in that vein. It is so true. Right beside today's success, I have in your notes, what got you here won't keep you here. And that is so very, very true. I wrote a book called Failing Forward, and Oprah Winfrey found it out, and so she has a network called Oxygen. About a month ago, I went to New York City to do some camera work with them because they're doing a special on businesses that have failed. And in their special on businesses that failed, they're talking about how certain business people, they come back from failure and do really well the second time and reestablish and rebuild, and how other people, it just disqualifies them. I mean, they're out and they stay out. And so basically they're doing these little case studies of businesses on the Oxygen Network, and they're using my book Failing Forward as kind of the foundation to teach people how to fail correctly or how to fail successfully. So in the interview, they asked me to talk about some of the things that people that step on these landmines or fail in these businesses, to talk about how to re-enter. And one of the things I said, and I'll never forget, because when we were doing the taping, after I did this section of taping, they shut off the cameras, and we got into probably about a 10-minute dialogue because they wanted to talk to me about it a little bit more. I told them, I said, in my office, I have a sign that really helps me. It really helps me because I was talking to them about this landmine right here of holding on to your success until it begins to turn in a negative way to you, begins to hurt you instead of help you. And so what I did is I said, I have a sign in my office, and the sign just really keeps everything focused and crystallized in my mind. The sign reads, yesterday ended last night. It's a great sign. I look at it often. And when I want to celebrate because yesterday was a good day and we did well in the business and we helped people and we added value and I want to celebrate, I look at the sign and I say, okay, John, that was yesterday. Yesterday ended last night. Celebration's over. Go home, go to bed, get some sleep. It's another day. If you're still living off of 2 months ago's success and said, oh man, I tell you, it's never going to get any better and I'm going to embrace this. We always want to be like this and this is what we are and this is who we are. We want to hold it just here. Life is not a snapshot. It would be wonderful at the pinnacle of your success if you could take a picture of it and say nothing will ever change. But it will change. And if you don't change with it, what got you there yesterday won't allow you to stay there today. Yesterday ended last night. Now, it's also true about failure. And when I was doing the Oxygen Network stuff, I was talking about failure, and I was talking about the fact that, okay, yesterday was a bad day. You didn't do very well yesterday. It was not a good day for you. Hey, yesterday ended last night. The ability to let go is absolutely huge and very important, what I'm talking about right here. The ability to let go of your successes, the ability to let go of your failures, that is absolutely essential. In your notes. The wrong question is, does this job have a future? There's never been a job that's had a future. The right question is, do I have a future? That's the question. And the answer is, the only future you have is to keep growing and developing. When you're successful, what's the tendency? Don't change anything. Isn't that right? Now, some people said, well, when you fail, it's much easier to change out of failure than it is out of success. If you've gone down, lost your company, and gone bankrupt, one day you wake up and say, I probably should change some things. This is not working. But when you're humming and cooking and things are going well, the tendency for you is to build fences around it and say, okay, this is it. We found the secret. This is the way it's going to be. This is the way it always will be. And that's where we get into trouble all the time. You've got to keep reinventing yourself. You've got to keep reinventing your company. 90% of what we do as far as profit margin today and enjoy, we were not doing 6 years ago. 90%. And when we looked at our game plan for the next 5 years and the growth that we're planning to have in our company, nothing in the next 5 years is determined on what we're doing right now. So that success that you have, it can be a landmine if you just begin to embrace it and how you say, let's hold it just like it is. All my life I've done my best to reinvent myself, to keep growing, to keep developing. I went from a pastor to a leader, to a communicator, to an equipper, to a developer, to a partner. I've gone through 6 phases in my life as a result of nothing more than growth. Let me put it this way. If what you did 5 years ago still satisfies you, you're not doing anything today worthwhile. I tell pastors, pastors, if you can look at a message you preached 5 years ago and still think it's good, you're not growing. I look up stuff I did 5 years ago and I want to apologize. I want to send out a public apology. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry I put that on you. It's terrible. You see, a sign of growth in your life is when what you did yesterday no longer thrills you. Not because you're bored, but because you're growing. And that landmine of today's success, so many times we want to stay right there, and it's going to get you, I promise you. It's only a matter of time till it blows up. So how do you avoid today's success landmine? Ready? I'm going to give you some practical things real quickly. Number one, and it's written in there for you because it's number one. It's number one every time. It'll always be written in there for you, so you won't have to do number one. Because the first thing you want to do is you need to recognize the landmine. Because this is key. In fact, Joe Frazier said it right. The punch that knocks you out is the one you didn't see. It's not the hardest punch. You see, in boxing, you get hit a lot of times with a hard punch, but if you see it coming, you move with the punch. It's the one you didn't see that'll knock you out every time. So what you have to do on all the landmines, the first thing to do is recognize the landmine. Say, that is a potential landmine. If you know it's in the field, you'll avoid it. Number two, keep growing personally. The reason I say keep growing personally is growth equals change. When you grow, you change. I did not say change equals growth. You can change and not grow at all. But growth always equals change. You cannot grow without changing. You can change without growing, but you cannot grow without changing. Number 3, continually ask. And here's the question to continually ask. Is there a better way? Is there a better way to do this? Could we do this more efficiently? Could we do it more effectively? Could we raise the bar on this? Let me tell you something. When somebody asks the question, is there a better way? The answer is always yes. There's always a better way. You're in deep weeds or deep doo-doo when you think that you've got the best way. There's no such thing as a best way. There's always a better way. And your search to be a little bit better, a little bit different, your search to raise that bar is going to constantly keep you in a growth spurt. Number 4, pay for outside consulting. I learned a long time ago, and I found this to be very effective. If you really want to grow, get somebody that's not part of your organization, that knows your business well, and let them on the inside and give you fresh eyes, fresh eyes, fresh eyes. I have paid every year, probably for 25 years of my life now, every year, I've paid tens of thousands of dollars for fresh eyes, fresh eyes, fresh eyes. Number 5, don't protect the past. Don't protect it. The tendency for us is to be defensive of our past or protect what we've been doing. Now, let me tell you where you get to be protective, by the way. If you came in and took over a company from somebody else, another leader, you wouldn't protect the past. You'd say, why in the heck is he doing that, and why did she do that, and why in the world did they hire those people, and hello! You'd be just going in there with open eyes, and you'd just be making all kind of changes. Here's what I want you to understand. The tendency is very simple. We have a tendency to protect our past, decisions we've made, people we've hired. Can I tell you something? If you hired some bad people, I got news for you. Go fire them. Quit protecting them. Well, I think they're going to make it. I know they have for 7 years. I can see a spurt of growth. You know, by 2026, I believe they're going to get there. No, you just made a bad decision. See, it's easy for you to say, the last guy made a bad decision, I'm going to let this person go. Where the real effort is when you have to say, no, I made a stupid decision. And I'm going to make the change again. So don't protect the past. Number 6, build on your success. Don't sit on it. Build on your success. Don't sit on it. Don't erect a monument. Don't get a throne. You follow me? The other day, Thomas Nelson, who's a wonderful publisher of ours, has been a publisher of mine now. We've had a great relationship for several years. But the other day we had one of our wonderful meetings where we get together and we just brainstorm about what we're going to do with books and things such as that. And they came and they brought a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful crystal award, and they gave it to me. In the last 4 years, we've sold 5.4 million books with them. And so they handed me this beautiful crystal and, did a little ceremony, and I said, thank you very much, and put it on the table. And when they all got their little stuff done, I looked at them and I said, this is very nice. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful. Now, how can we get better than we are now? Okay, wonderful. Thank you for the award. It'll sit over there. It'll collect dust. I've only got one question. See, I'm not impressed with the 5 million. What I want to know is, how can we go to 10 million? Come back to me. Push the envelope. Press me. Ask hard questions. Don't give me applause. When your company applauds you, take a tape recording, record it. Every once in a while when you're low, just turn it on and say, there was a time. Now turn the tape off. Start growing. Start improving. Start in a disciplined lifestyle to get better and keep people around you. Listen to me carefully. Keep people around you that are not impressed with you. The worst thing that happens with leaders is they build a team of, oh, you're so wonderful, and oh, you're so smart, and you're so fast, and you're so good, and you're so wonderful. Oh, could we bow down to you one more time? Oh, you are just awesome. Get rid of those people. They're worthless to you, worthless. When a person in your company becomes a fan of yours, they almost always are worthless. Because they're just going to every day get up and admire you. You don't need people to admire you. You need people to improve you. You need people to kick you in the butt. You need people to say, I don't think that was a good idea, and I think we could have certainly done a better thing if we'd have done this. That's what you need around, because they're the ones that will move you, and they're the ones that won't let you sit there on today's success. That's a landmine. Okay, landmine number 2. Losing touch with your people. It's a landmine. An isolated leader is an ineffective leader. We've all heard the statement, it's a bad one. A leader didn't say it, so don't ever think a leader did, but everybody says a leader said it, but they don't know anything about leadership, so they say all kinds of stupid things about leadership. When you hear the expression, well, it's lonely at the top. Well, you know, it's lonely at the top. You know, when you're the leader, it's lonely up here. Leader never said that. If you're at the top all alone, nobody's following you. Get off the mountain. Go down and find the people. What a thought. Connect. When leaders lose touch with people, when a leader becomes isolated, I promise you that leader will become ineffective. You've got to walk slowly through the crowd. You've got to listen to your people. You've got to hear what they're saying. You've got to sense what they're feeling. And you've got to hang. You just got to hang. I did a conference in Phoenix last month for the Direct Sellers Association. People that were over direct selling, they were there, and it was a wonderful, wonderful conference. And because I wanted to learn and grow and wanted to connect and network and relate with those people, I stayed a day and a half. We were in a little suite right off the thing, and I just met all kind of wonderful, wonderful leaders of organizations. And Joey Carter, who was the president of Home Interiors that I've done a lot of work with in the past, Joey came up to me the second day and said, John, thanks for just hanging around. President of DSA said, hey, thanks, you just have been signing books and talking to people and hanging with everybody. And while I was hanging with people, I was listening, I was learning, I was networking, I was growing. I listened to a successful businessman, it was incredible, who told me he started with $10. Built this multi-million dollar business. I mean, I'm just sitting there and I'm just taking notes. I'm saying, well, that's good. I'm just drinking it in. You know, another person told me, I was walking through the hallway and somebody gave me the difference between a dream and a fantasy. They said a dream is a big idea with a strategy, and a fantasy is a big idea without a strategy. I thought, oh, excuse me. I know we're walking, but I got to get my notebook out. That needs to be in one of my books that you can buy down the road. All right, how do you avoid losing touch with your people? Number one, recognize the landmine. Look at your notes. Success leads to withdrawal. What happens with successful people is they say, I don't need to see them. I got this all wired. In a sense of arrogance, withdrawal, they say, I've got this. I don't need to see those people. Now, failure leads to withdrawal too. See, success and failure both lead to withdrawal. The difference is if you're a failure, you don't want to see them. You know, I don't want to see them. Boy, it just reminds me of bad decisions and bad times, and so you withdraw. Both success and failure, the tendency is if you get real successful or if you get real bad, the tendency is to withdraw. The second way, though, to avoid losing touch with people is to value people. They're the only appreciable asset that you and I have. And number three, boy, this is so huge. Avoid positional thinking. I hate to see people that are wrapped up in their titles and positions. The people in my company all the time, I mean, they're on my team, and I'm with them, and sometimes I got to introduce them to somebody, and I look and I say, now, what's your title? Titles are totally meaningless to me. I did a lesson many, many years ago called Leading from the Middle of the Pack, and the whole theme of the lesson was that leadership has nothing to do with what your position is. It has everything to do with what your influence is. It is an absolute fact. And I, a long time ago, said, people don't work for me. I don't have people work for me in my companies. I have people who work with me. But nobody works for me. We just work together. We're all on the same team. I have teammates. I don't have employees. Long, long time ago, I gave up titles. I gave up positions. I gave up name cards. I gave up all that baloney. Doesn't matter. If you're good, you don't need it. And if you're bad, it won't help you. And the more insecure a leader is, the more titles they want. I've watched it happen all throughout my life. Avoid positional thinking. Number four, love the people you lead. It's just a fact. I've said it so many years. People really do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. Number five, understand that you're in the people business. That's what you're in. So I'm talking to this room. Many of you say, well, we're in the mortgage business. No. You're in the people business. You happen to get loans for people, but you're in the people business. And number six, understand the law of significance. It's out of the law of teamwork, and the law of significance just says one is too small of a number to achieve greatness. If you can achieve your dream by yourself, you don't have much of a dream. Losing touch with people, major landmine. Number three, betrayal of trust. In fact, that's a landmine we're seeing major corporate leaders stepping on right now. Is that not true? WorldCom, Enron, hello. I was just interviewed 2 days ago while I was here from a reporter in the States, one of the major wire services, on what's happening in corporate America. And all they want to talk about is, why do leaders betray trust? Why do leaders say one thing and do another thing? This whole issue. You see, leadership functions on the basis of trust. That's the whole foundation of leadership. In your notes, Warren Bennis claims that trust is one of the 6 basic ingredients of leadership. Integrity is the basis of trust, which is not so much an ingredient of leadership as it is a product. It is the one quality that cannot be acquired but must be earned. It is given by co-workers and followers, and without it the leader cannot function. Trust is the foundation upon which relationships in every setting are built. And receiving trust from others is a result of 3 things. Number 1, character. Basically, who you are on the inside. Number 2 is competence, what you're able to do. And 3 is consistency. Character, competence, and consistency. Those 3 must mesh together for you to build trust and to receive trust from your people as a leader. So how do we avoid the betrayal of trust landmine? Number 1, it's in your notes. Recognize the landmine. Stay with me in your notes. What's the first thing that you think about when you deal with people you don't know, people you've never done business with before? The first thing we think about is, how much can we trust them? Number 2, value character more than success. So that when Tylenol 8 years ago had their problem, they pulled all the Tylenol stuff off of the shelf because it said it didn't fit their value statement, and they said we'll lose hundreds of millions of dollars because our values and our character is more important than our success. Number 3, focus on shared goals more than personal agendas. A leader must always consider the fact that he or she is leading the company for the benefit of the people. Number 4, stay away from politics. I've always done that very well. I'm here to tell you right now, I don't allow it in my company. I don't even like it. Boy, I'm telling you, we just stay away from politics. Well, I know they're not producing, but, they got some influence here and leverage here, and let's play the... No. Kill that cow immediately. Just go kill it. Just go kill it. Hey, let it be known very quickly, you can't be bought. You just can't be bought. Man, do you know how wonderful it is for people to look at you and you just look at them and say, I don't give a rip? Do you know how wonderful that is? To be able to look at somebody and say, it's all right. Hey, don't have to have the job. It's okay. It's no problem. It's your problem. It's not mine. Not going to let you bring your political baggage over onto me. Has nothing to do with me. Just don't play politics. Number 5, do the right thing regardless of personal risk. Just do the right thing regardless of personal risk. We say, well, it's going to hurt me. Well, then get hurt. Number 6, be accountable to others. Get some accountability in your life. And number 7, follow the golden rule. That's just so simple. Take care and treat people the way that you want to be treated. It's not complicated. Landmine number 4, failure to think realistically. Max Dupree said it right. The first responsibility of a leader is to define reality. I love Garrison Keillor anyway, but I love what he said. Sometimes you need to look reality in the eye and deny it. Boy, don't you know people like that? They'll just look reality in the eye and deny it. We played golf yesterday, and let me just take 30 seconds and have fun, because what I found is most golfers are not realistic. They really aren't. They don't intentionally lie, but they lie. They just aren't realistic. When they're 160 yards out in picking the club that they're going to pick, they pick the club where if they hit it perfectly, they can get it there. And I watch their swing and I say, the odds are low about this. It just cracks me up. Golf will tell you more about the character of a person than anything else. And I always want to say, I've been watching your swing and you really haven't hit one perfect yet. What would make you think you're going to hit this one perfect? Now, just get realistic in your game. Very simple. Many years ago, I did this. I do all my club selection based on the fact that I'll hit the ball about 90%, not 100%. So when I swing and I don't quite get the ball quite clean like I need to get the ball quite clean, the ball goes the distance I need it to go. Now, if I hit the ball well, I'm 10 yards, 12 yards beyond the flag. The odds are I'll hit a lot more imperfect shots than perfect shots because I'm not a real good golfer. Now, all I'm saying is the realism. Or a guy who didn't do very good on a hole, and you say, what did you get there? He said, well, I'll take a 6. I didn't ask what you would take. I asked what you did. If we're going to do the I take game, I'll just take a 36 and not play. I'll just put my score in before I play. We don't do it on purpose. We're not liars. We're not in touch. Nobody's home. I'm having fun. So how do you avoid the failure to think realistically landmine? Number one, recognize the landmine. We're getting that one down, aren't we, huh? Someone told it like this: an optimist thinks the glass is half full, the pessimist thinks it's half empty, and the realist knows that before long he'll have to wash the glass. Number two, make realism the foundation of your organization. And build that foundation on 3 levels of achievement. Level number 1, what we have to achieve. That's the level to stay in business. Level number 2, what we think we will achieve. Number 3, what we can hope to achieve. But just make realism the foundation of your organization. Number 3, look at realism as a friend, not a foe. This is something I've had to learn. As I shared with you the other day, and I'm now sharing with the MIC lesson, I took the 6 rules of Jack Welch and really helped me on realism, especially number 1, which says control your destiny or someone else will. Number 2, face reality as it is, not as it was or as you wish it were. 3, be candid with everyone. It's amazing what happens when you're just honest. Honest is an amazing quality. You know, it's a happy day for your life when you look at somebody in the confidence and the privacy of their own life and say, you don't do that very well. You're not any good at that. Let me help you. We won't do that anymore. Or I don't do this very well. Oh, my goodness. It's amazing what could happen in helping develop people. I'm going to make a statement here. I'm going to go on real quickly because I'm into developing and equipping people. You'll never develop and equip your people effectively until you're honest with them. Just get honest. Don't try to make up for their ineffectiveness and the things they don't do well. Help them out. Don't manage, lead, change before you have to. It's just some great stuff of Welch's. Just realistic thinking. Number 4. Go to number 4. Give others permission to be realistic. Now, you know what I have found? Let me just say this quickly. The more successful you become, the more you have to continually look at people and say, be honest with me. Be realistic with you. Because what I have found is the more successful you are, the more people will tell you what they think you want to hear. And after a while, you don't get good, honest feedback from people. And the only way that you can keep that from happening and not let that landmine blow you up is be very open. If you're the leader, you've got to be the pace setter on this. You've got to just say, don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Tell me what I need to hear. Give me truth. Tell me the realism. Let me know what I didn't do well. Recently, I was in New York City at the Booksellers Convention with my other publisher, Time Warner, and went out to have a wonderful lunch after it was over. And I sat down with their 9 key players on the Time Warner book division. And I looked at them and I said, let me just say something, because we're just beginning this relationship. I said, I desire to improve. I desire to get better. And you're not going to help me get better by telling me how good the book is. When I send you a manuscript, I want you to look at that manuscript, and if part of it's good, that's wonderful. Thank you very, very, very much. I said, tear it up. Push it back. Ask hard questions. Don't accept what I say. Make sure that I underline everything that I'm giving credit to. I said, push back, push back. I'm not an author who wants to hear you say, good job, an author that wants to improve. And I said, if you don't push back for me, it is not going to help me. So I said, you may have authors that have huge egos, and you ought to watch these 9 people. They're going nuts. They're punching each other and said, oh, we got an author who really wants truth. Because a lot of authors, all they want somebody to do is be their fan club. You don't need fans. You don't need fans. Can I tell you something? If you're good, you'll have more fans than you ever need. But have that pushback from people. Let them be honest with you. Let that realism set in. Okay, landmine number 5. Poor timing. Poor timing. This was an easy one you step on because timing is very difficult to understand. In your notes, the difference between a home run and a long foul ball is timing. It's just a timing issue. It's not a power issue. The proverb writer says, make hay while the sun shines. That's smart. Go fishing during harvest. That's stupid. It's a timing issue. The wrong action at the wrong time equals disaster. Oh, I've seen that. And the wrong action at the right time equals a mistake. The right action at the wrong time equals resistance. And the right action at the right time equals success. You got that? Just remember Kenny Rogers and that great hymn that he sang. Got to know when to hold him. Got to know when to fold him. Got to know when to walk away. I love the hymns, don't you? Huh? Just love the hymns. How do you avoid poor timing? Number one, recognize the lamb. Oh, we're doing good now, aren't we? Huh? You know, it took 5, but we got it now. Number 2, see the big picture. Almost all times when the timing is wrong, it's because somebody did not see the whole picture. Number 3, know the seasons of timing. There are 3 seasons of timing that every leader needs to understand well. I've given many, many lectures on this because I can tell you this is a lecture I'll give till I die, because if you can understand these 3 seasons of timing, this is when people will change. When they hurt enough that they have to, when they learn enough that they want to, and when they receive enough that they're able to. Those are the 3 seasons of timing. And as a leader, watch the tide of timing constantly. Number 4, seek advice from successful leaders, those who are especially seasoned or mature. In my seeking advice from the people that I seek advice from, I seek more advice from the timing of the decision than the decision itself. I've been around the block long enough as a leader that most of the time, not all the time, but 95% of the time, I know the right decision. So now when I sit down with a seasoned person who's gone through it, what I'm asking them is not, is the decision right? Oh, I'll throw out the decision. If it was wrong, they'd say, hey, John, that's a stupid decision. But that's not really what I'm after. Most of the time, I give them the context and I say, is now the time? Is it the right time? Landmine number 6, inconsistency between saying and doing. Inconsistency between saying and doing. Goes back to the fact that a pint can't equal a gallon if the pint is the example, because it's worth a gallon of advice. Always has been, always will be. By the way, I didn't learn this as a young leader, and so therefore as a young pastor, I would get up and I would preach messages that I didn't know anything about, because I was inexperienced and I was young, but I thought if you just speak it, people will follow. I thought that people followed what people heard. What I didn't realize is, no, people follow what people see, not what they hear. The first 6 months, they'll do what they hear from you because they don't know you. But the moment they know you, they no longer will follow what you say. They will follow what you do. They'll follow your example. 89% of what we learn, Stanford research says, we learn visually. We learn through our eyes. We learn through watching the patterns of people. And as a young pastor, I just thought if I got up and preached a message, people would listen to it and follow it. After 6 months, they weren't listening to my message. They were watching my life. So how do you avoid? In your notes, leadership is visual, and example is the key. And when you're saying and not doing, at best it's going to be temporary leadership. And when you're doing and not saying, it's incomplete leadership. But when you're saying and doing, now you are into ultimate leadership. Trust me, you want to be a tour guide, not a travel agent. Travel agent sends you somewhere and bon voyages, gives you a couple souvenirs and blessings and hope you catch your flight. Tour guide says, follow me. Been there, done that. How to avoid the inconsistency landmine? Number 1, recognize the landmine. Number 2, ask yourself this. Before speaking, ask yourself, am I doing this? And number 3, before doing, ask yourself, am I teaching this? And number 4, do I use a lot of personal examples when I speak? Number 5, Do I often speak about my weaknesses? This gives a sense of reality to what you're saying. Number 6, do I say follow me or do I say go do it? A book that greatly impacted me, it's no longer in print, and I'm so sorry it isn't, because if it was, I would recommend it very highly to you. But if you ever find it, or if you go to Amazon.com on used books or something, there's a book by Fred Smith called Learning to Lead. And he has a chapter in there called Incarnational Leadership that is worth the whole book. And basically, Fred Smith, this great, great leader himself, basically said that what you say and what you do has to match up for you to be a consistent leader. And until the people see that, they will not buy into you, nor will they follow you, nor will they trust you. Landmine number 7. This one I wish I had time to talk to you about in depth, but I'll just give it to you, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Advancing in position, but not personal growth. It's a huge landmine. In other words, we get a promotion, but we're not growing. Bad, bad news. Look at your notes. It's okay to be over your head because you grew into the next level. It's not okay to be over your head because you were given the next level. Now, just stay with me. Put first by the first statement, put second by the second statement. And I wish I had put this in your notes so it would have been more clear, but just stay with me. Just look at these two things I just said. It's okay to be over your head because you grew into the next level. It's not okay to be over your head because you were given the next level. In the first statement, you're over your head temporarily. In the second statement, you're over your head permanently. In the first statement, you'll grow into it because growth is a lifestyle. But in the second statement, you'll lean on the past experiences and luck to pull you through. In the first statement, you will seek mentors and answers. But in the second statement, you'll avoid mentors and answers. In the first statement, you will grow into that level and then grow onto a higher level. But in that second statement, you'll stay at that level and bring everything down to your level. Man, do I wish I had time to teach that. This is huge. It's a terrible thing you do in your company when you give somebody a promotion and they don't deserve it. It's a terrible thing you do for yourself, a terrible thing you do for the people in the company. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. Anybody that goes to a new position is a little bit over their head, but if they are growing into that position, they'll grow right through it and grow on to the next level. But if they were given it, they'll never get there. They'll never get there if you give them the position. So how do you avoid advancing in position but not personal growth, this landmine? Number 1, recognize the landmine. Man, you're good. You could finish this, I can tell. Number 2, grow now where you are. Don't say, well, when I get to that next level, I'm going to grow. I love these people. Well, I'm going to learn leadership when I become a leader. Oh, shut up. You tire my mind. Number 3, grow those around you. Always spend time growing people around you. Many times they'll take you with them. Many times you'll take them with you. But you can't go together if you don't keep growing together. Number 4, grow your area of responsibility. What your responsibility is, grow it. Be a producer. Number 5, let growth be your promoter. This is huge. Let growth be your promoter. I'm 55 years old, and I'm still growing. Now, you can ask me a lot of things, and I'd have to tell you, I don't know. You can say, John, are you going to start another company? I'd say, I don't know, but I'm still growing. John, how many books are you going to write? Well, I don't know, but I'm still growing. What are you going to do after you equip 1 million leaders internationally? I don't know, but I'm still growing. You see, the ace that I've got, the ace that I hold in my hand is not what I've done. It's not where I am. It's not who I am, and it's not the position I hold. I've got one ace that is going to produce for me until I die, and the ace is I'm still growing. And I'm just going to keep on moving. My growth will produce any company that I need to produce, and it'll provide any book that needs to be written. The I'm still growing is the key. When a person says, I'm not growing, it's over. It's over. The heavyweight lady has not sung, but it is over. Trust me. My favorite statement in the lesson is this next statement. My goals do not ensure my future. My growth does. Listen to me very carefully. I'm not impressed with goal-oriented people. I can show you more failures. I can show you more people that have written goals on refrigerators that have done absolutely nothing in life. I am not impressed with dreams, and I'm not impressed with goals. Never have been, still am not. It doesn't take much energy to write a goal down. And if you are goal-oriented, if you hit that goal, which will put you in a minority, but if you hit that goal, if you're goal-oriented, your tendency will be to celebrate and stay. Celebrate and stay. So I don't set goals. Never have. Don't plan to. Never set goals for my life. Don't want to. Why would I set goals? I am on a growth plan. And my whole purpose, I am not goal-oriented, I'm growth-oriented. As long as I keep growing, I'll hit every goal, but I'll never be impressed with the goal. I'll just say, well, that was nice. Wrote another book. Oh, I like it. Hold it for 15 minutes. Sing Kumbaya. Kiss the cover. Put it aside and say, and let's keep writing, John. Let's keep growing out of your life, out of what you're learning. Keep passing on. You're not to be a reservoir. You're to be a river. Move it, baby. Move it, move it. See, as long as I'm growing, I'll have stuff for you. Nothing's worse than to have somebody, you listen to a leader and you sit there and say, I heard him 2 years ago. I'm hearing him now. Same old message. Different place. Same old message. Growth is everything. My greatest passion is not leadership. My greatest passion is growth. Always has been. How do you stay ahead of the pack? You stay ahead of the pack because you keep growing. That's the only way. The moment you stop and sing Kumbaya, somebody who's continually growing passes you. And when they pass you, quit whining. They pass you because you stopped growing. In fact, do what everybody else does. When they pass you, get in line and follow their butt for the next several years. Quit whining. Make growth your passion. That's what it is. Not goals. What are your goals for the next 5 years? What I want to know is, are you growing? If you're growing, you're going to hit your goals. It's just what happens to a person that is growing within their life. Landmine number 8. Personal insecurities. Oh, dear God, help us. Nothing is worse than an insecure leader. The most dangerous people in the world today are insecure leaders. I'm telling you right now, if you're insecure, the best thing could ever happen to you is to have no influence on anyone else. I wish you total isolation for your entire life. If we could quarantine you, it would help us all. Personal insecurity. See, here's what happens. Insecure people usually hurt themselves. Hang on. Insecure leaders usually hurt themselves and others. That's what's sad about insecure leaders. It's bad enough to hurt yourself. But when you step on landmines and you're blowing up your people because of your insecurities, you're a dirty dog. You see, insecure leaders, let me give you characteristics of insecure leaders. Number 1, they want control. Control is everything to an insecure person. The word empowerment is a foreign word to an insecure person. Number 2, they fear public failure. They absolutely do anything not to be embarrassed by doing something stupid in front of others. Number 3, they avoid risk. They would rather not try and not know. Number 4, they are closed in their relationships. Number 5, they do not hire tens. Insecure people do not hire good people because they do not want to be showing up. So what they do is they hire a bunch of people that are losers so they look good. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you're bad. Please join the company. Please join the company. Oh, dear God, you're lousy. You're lazy. Oh, this is wonderful. Please let me pay you. Number 6, they resist change. Number 7, they fail to affirm and empower others. Number 8, they stay in their comfort zone. Number 9, they view people and situations through their insecurities. That's one of the things that makes them so bad, is they see you through their insecurities, and oh, that's a poor picture. And number 10, they create an environment of insecurity. That's just what insecure leaders do. That's who they are. So, let's go on. How do you avoid the personal insecurity landmine? Number 1, Rick, you are so good. Number 2, seek professional help. Listen very carefully. If you have high insecurities in your life, go get some counseling. You need help. Your family needs help. Everybody needs help around you. Insecure people are terrible. Dear God, spare us, spare us, spare us. Yeah. They'll put you on their roller coaster and jerk you around the rest of their life if you let them. Remember this, in relationships, this isn't a relationship lesson, but remember this, the weaker person always controls the relationship. So when you're dealing with somebody and you're having to work with somebody or live with somebody that has those insecurities, you might as well fasten your seatbelt, because you're going to be jerked around in their insecure world and get mental, emotional whiplash. Seek professional help if you're insecure. Go get some good counseling. Number 3, identify your areas of insecurity. Identify the areas that you're insecure in. Number 4, allow a trusted friend to help you. Boy, that's so important if you have to battle this issue. And number 5, develop a complimentary friend. If that trusted friend can complement your insecurities and help you and make up for some of your weakness, it'll be tremendous. Landmine number 9. Failure to make the tough call. In other words, it's the call you should make and you know you should make, and it will certainly help you in the company, but you don't want to make it for many wonderful, probably personal reasons. And it's true, 95% in your notes of the decisions a CEO can make can be made by a reasonably intelligent 8th grader. But the CEO gets paid for the other 5%. So quit sucking your thumb. I was talking to a leader the other day, and I asked him, I said, have you ever made any tough calls? He said, well, I'm sure I have, but I can't remember them. I said, you've never made any. You remember, read my lips, you remember every tough call you ever made. Because every time you think of it, you still groan. If you don't groan when you think of a tough call you made, you didn't make one. Each tough call that I've had to make in my life have had these things in common. Number 1, it required much energy, time, and prayer. I mean, it took a long time to make the tough call. Sapped me of energy, took my time, had to go to God. Help me, help me, help me. Number 2, it demanded a risk. Every tough call I've ever made had a risk involved. If there's no risk in this, you're not making a tough call. Number 3, it was questioned and criticized. I've never made a tough call where when I got done, everybody in my company said, oh, what a wise man you are. Now, I've made tough calls where they said, that was one of the stupidest things we've ever seen you do. No. If you make a tough call and get unanimous approval, it wasn't a tough call. Number 4, it cost me greatly. Sometimes it cost me financially. Sometimes it cost me sleep, but trust me, it cost me greatly. And number 5, and this is what I love, it lifted my leadership to a higher level. Many of you in this room and many of the Maximum Impact Club listeners, listen to me very carefully. You're only one tough call away from a breakthrough. In fact, I love the expression, tough calls equal breakthroughs. How do you get a breakthrough? You get a breakthrough by making a call that you don't want to make, but it's the right call to make. And when you make it, all of a sudden, you take yourself or you take your company or you take your family to a whole new level that you've never been on before. Now, how to avoid not making the tough calls, landmine? Watch this when I change it on you. Just because it's not good for you to have to do the same thing throughout a lesson. People get bored by that. And remember, your goal is not to bore people. Remember, when you get to heaven, God's not going to say, well done, thou good and boring servant. You've bored a few on earth, bore a few more here. Number 1, accept tough calls as a requirement of leadership. Just accept it. If you're a leader, guess what? You're going to make tough calls. I'm sure when Moses came to the Red Sea and looked at the waters parting and God said, go, I'm sure Moses said, why do I always have to go first? Yeah. Do we have some volunteers that would like to kind of lead the way here? Number 2, do your homework. Tough calls are tough enough, so do your homework. 3, set a deadline. The reason you want to set a deadline is because what do we do with tough calls? Our tendency is to procrastinate. Isn't that true? How many of you, just let's have some fun here, how many of you have procrastinated at least an hour or 2 on a tough call within your life sometime? Thank you very much. So set a deadline. Number 4, seek counsel from the right people. Again, I'm going to say you got to get some outside help. Number 5, make your decisions on principles and values that you believe in. That makes your tough calls consistent with who you are and what you teach and what you believe. And number 6, understand the emotions of making the tough call. Scott Peck was right when he said the best decision makers are those who are willing to suffer the most over decisions but still retain their ability to be decisive. Landmine number 10. Failure to develop leaders. Harvey Firestone was so right. It is only as we develop others that we permanently succeed. And by the way, I want to say this. When I started pastoring, I didn't know how to develop leaders. I didn't develop any leaders in my first church. I didn't develop any. I didn't develop one. In fact, I went back after they had, They had me come back after, the 25th anniversary when we built the building. And they were thrilled. They said, we had more people here today than we've had since you left 25 years ago. And they were all thrilled. And I looked out. I was so sad that day. I didn't tell them I was sad, but I was sad. I was sad that there's not one person I developed. There wasn't any person I trained. There wasn't anybody I equipped. There was nobody I mentored. There was nobody I discipled. I didn't know how to do any of those things. Therefore, that church that I grew from 3 to 300, 6 months after I left, it went from 300 down to below 100 because I didn't develop anybody. So everything I teach on growing leaders and developing people today, I've had to learn over the years. College didn't teach me how to do that. Why would they want to give me something helpful, practical, and life-changing? How do you avoid the failure to develop leaders? Landmine 1. See, I brought it back. I just didn't want to do it on all 10. It's not good to have all 10. You have to leave one out. If not for your sake, for mine. Number 2, understand the value of leadership. Once you understand the value of leadership, you'll pour time, energy, and money into developing leaders. Number 3, develop yourself as a leader. Remember, you cannot take people where you have not gone yourself. Quit trying to export what you do not have. Number 4, recruit potential leaders. Get the picture of what a leader looks like so that you know it. So when you bring them into your company, you hire them. Somebody asked me one time for Chick-fil-A when I was doing a national conference for them. We were in a question and answer period, and they said, how do I develop leaders? I said, know what a potential leader looks like, because it's easier to develop a potential leader than one that's not a potential leader. So know what potential leader looks like so you got the cream of the crop, so you've got some potential when you start developing them. And number 5, create a leadership environment. And then I have listed which landmine do I need to be careful and avoid. This is good for you. I listed them there for you. Today's success, losing touch with my people, betrayal of trust, failure to think realistically, poor timing, inconsistency between saying and doing, advancing in position but not in personal growth, personal insecurities, failure to make the tough call, or failure to develop leaders. And I want to close with this one more thought. This is important to our Maximum Impact Club listeners. Daniel Harkavy is a wonderful friend of mine. Many people in this room are very well acquainted with him because he has a wonderful coaching company called Building Champions. Many of you are coached by Daniel and his people on a consistent basis. And I'm convinced the only way to continue to grow on your own level is to bring people beside you who not only will commit themselves to you, but will coach you and know what they're doing so that they can help give you the advice that you need and the accountability that you desire to really grow in your life. I just want to say this. The leadership landmines we've talked about in this lesson, one of the greatest ways to avoid those landmines is to get a coach, especially somebody who's been there and done that. Just to walk beside you and say, hey, here's a landmine. Watch out here. Let me help you through this. Oh, you hit one? Let me walk you through this. Let me help you repair the wounded here in this whole process. I would encourage you to call Daniel, call Building Champions. I'm going to give you the number, Maximum Impact Club Leaders, and I want you just to write it down. If you want a coach in your life, call 503-670-1013. Just tell Daniel and his team you listen to this lesson. Tell them you've got some landmines in front of you and you want to have somebody coach you, and they'll help take you to a whole new level. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it.